Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Hey, what's going on?
It's been a few days. Where you been, lady? I'm kidding. I'm kidding because, you know, contrary to popular belief, we both have lives. And sometimes we have to take meetings out of state and do things, and it kind of messes up the schedule.
Doesn't it, though?
But only because I've made this a permanent fixture in this specific area, and I'm not going to, I try not to change it, like take it with me if I can help it. I will, but it's rare.
You mean you're set?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to be taking our sets places. No.
This microphone stand is heavy.
Well, you know, I have this microphone, and I have not set it up yet.
I think that's one of the best things I've done.
I kind of like the sound of it, but I do have a few friends of ours that listen to us on their walk, you know, in their headphones and say, Sloan, you need to finally set up your headphone or your microphone so you sound as good as Margot.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. Sloan and I will say this together. I know she agrees with me. We're never wearing headsets. It's not going to happen.
No, I
Can't do that.
I do these from time to time, but no, we're not going the whole nine.
No, we're not.
Sorry.
Anyway, there's a ton of stuff going
There's
on and some breaking news.
No, this week there was, I believe yesterday, there was a hearing for the anti-Sharia law caucus in the House. And they discussed the takeover of radical Islam in America. So we have a very important breaking news piece to announce. So here in Wake County, there's a state senator by the name of Terrence Everett. He resigned, and it's rumored that the North Carolina or the Wake County Democrat Party is putting up radical Muslim Islamist Habib Fatimi, who is right now a Wake Forest city councilman, just got elected, but he is sponsored by CARE. So if this is true, if this is happening, we are starting to have the Muslim Brotherhood inside of the General Assembly, right here in North Carolina.
It's insane to think that. Of all the places, I would have never thought that would happen. It would be North Carolina.
Yeah. So we are on red alert here. We've got, CARE is Muslim Brotherhood. This guy's a radical Islamist. And we have him nominated, of course, by the radical Democrat Party. Now, we got a guy named Chris Stock who is running against this guy here in Wake County. The good news, I guess, is he's backed by lobbyists. So there's some cash.
So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well, no. Clear choice.
No, it's damned anyway. You're right. So, hey, listen, I got questions about this guy. Do you know anything about him? Is he a naturalized citizen?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We
will.
Bet your ass we'll figure it out, babe.
You're right.
We'll
have video of him next time we speak, I'm sure.
Oh, honey, it's as we speak, right? And, people that testified in front of the House yesterday, this committee, they warned that radical Islamists are taking over our political system. They've really just completely eradicated this system of law in the UK, the culture in the UK, and in Germany and in Spain now.
Well, Amy Mack, who I think her name is Amy Mackberg. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she spoke, and she actually said they have highlighted in many articles that they want to take the state of Texas, and that Texas is their stop, where they're really trying to headquarter and make change. Yeah.
Well, Texas and North Carolina are very much alike, and they've got rural territories. And you're right. They are every level trying to get into the door. Yes, that's right. So you should know that many Muslims who want to escape persecution, and there are some, because they're called refugees. So if Muslim
newcomers
if Muslim refugees are trying to escape Islam, then why are we setting up a government, right, or a government structure that perpetuates Islam in our own country? It doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. It needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped. And we need to get started now on making sure that they do not get a foothold in our state government.
Well, and you know what's really funny? It's not just in the government, because I don't know if you noticed what happened in Greensboro this week. They got a new police chief from Pakistan,
where they allow rape gangs.
And it's my understanding. Yeah, it's also, well, he's from
Colorado. On a Quran. So the police chief of Greensboro swore in on a Quran, which, by the way, Sharia law, okay, is a system of government. That is the oppressive mechanism by which oppression is forced down on people in Iran right now. You can see that Sharia law. You can see it in Pakistan. You can see it in Afghanistan and Iraq. We don't want it here.
Yeah, so we're seeing the tide in many of the major radical sanctuary cities embracing the terrorism-ish, I'm going to be kind, people. We are seeing it. We're seeing it here.
To be clear, we have
there's a difference between a Muslim and a...
we have Muslims serving right now in the General Assembly. There's two of them.
Well, yes.
One of them just became an independent and left the Democrat Party. So I'm talking about... That's right. I'm talking about an Islamist who is backed by CAIR, the Muslim Brotherhood. So there is a difference between an Islamist and someone who happens to practice the faith.
Okay. But yeah, it's good. We have to tell our audience that, because they don't know. I've had many discussions with people about that. And I even see people in the press, not us, who don't know the difference. And there is a difference.
Well, you know what? I happen to be an expert on the Middle East, so I will guide everyone through, by damn. We will get through it together.
I don't know what's a crazier story to start out with, that one or the budget.
Okay, well, the budget we're going to start out with. So in the budget, we've already heard both sides, right? We heard the Democrats bitch and bellyache. We've heard the Republicans tout it. We'll gloss over that. But we wanted to provide something for you tonight that no one's covering, because a lot of times in the budget, it's 300 pages, and they will put in laws in the budget and pass it, right? That they're not going to pass otherwise. So there's a couple of highlights here. For school safety in the budget, there's a couple of things that I like. Makes assaulting a school employee or volunteer a felony wherever they occur, on a bus, on a field trip, presumably off campus. What do you think about that?
I think that's good. I think it's time. We've got to listen. I do support teachers, and I don't think every teacher's a radical. And I think when teachers are doing the right thing, we have to protect them and help them.
Well, yeah, and most do. So
and even volunteers, because honestly, it's not the teachers you usually see get in a fight. It's somebody or break up a fight.
Bus driver or
right,
parent
or a
para
teacher, whatever.
And this is another thing. It preserves immunity for school personnel who break up fights in good faith. We've seen this happen time and again, predominantly to male teachers who will go and break up a fight, but somebody will snip a video.
And you only see that one portion.
Right maybe in the middle, where, maybe a teacher lobs a haymaker at someone because he's getting his ass beat.
Yeah.
And he gets an assault charge. That is not okay. So this also this is interesting. When you bring your kid to school and all that, and you have to have a note for aspirin and all this stuff. Well, this requires school staff to give life-saving care to medically compromised students, and it mandates at least one public school unit employee per school must be trained in life-saving techniques like seizure recognition,
CPR.
Well, yeah, I think
And even those those paddles that they now have that are portable.
That's a part of CPR training. So now when you are CPR trained, you will have to have that as well, part of it.
I didn't know that. I thought there was different degrees of CPR. There's CPR 1 and 2. I know there's basic CPR and then there's advanced CPR. But what's interesting to me is the fact that I did not even know that wasn't mandated before.
Right. So I guess if there are, a number of students there with something that needs immediate medicine, I don't know, maybe like an
peanut allergies,
right? Something like that. They'll be trained. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like that part of it. There's another part of it that I wanted to review. Let's break down the appropriations. And here's the thing we've been talking about. We have taken a lot of flack on that clip on Facebook and X that you and I made about our objections to the opportunity scholarships.
Well, you know what? People that don't live in a rural environment and can't take in rural North Carolina who can't take advantage of it, give me some more flack because I really don't care.
Well, one of my objections is, look, we were told that that we would, allot $7,500, right? Or so half of what we pay per student. And we would give that money to, let it follow a child. And we would lose students, of course, from the public school system, and it would just go to private schools. It doesn't seem like that in the budget. And let me explain to you, because this is a lot. Okay. When we look at the budget, it's appropriations happen every 2 years. And when I say appropriations, what I mean is this: even if there's a federal grant, right? There's a lot of federal grants for North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, which I'm going to put up. The federal grants don't go directly to DPI. They have to go through appropriations so that they're awarded through the state. So the federal appropriations, right? The grants, and then the state appropriations. So I'm going to break it down. I want everybody to know what's going on. All in all, we have a tiny bit of increase in students. I think it's 0.04%. So we're not losing students from the North Carolina public school system. Some districts are, right? But there's no savings here. There's no savings here. So you see that, we're just a tiny bit of money. There's a tiny bit difference, but really, all in all, there's some growth here.
Well, okay. I got some questions, but they're very surface level questions. The first one being, we're not attriting students across the board, but we are attriting them in rural areas, which we know. And we know that we've already gotten the excuse of why the graduation rate has dropped, because they're going to say it's because of ICE and illegal students. That's what it's already out there. The DPI has already said it.
But that's graduation rate. That doesn't mean doesn't.
There's skin in the game. Like where's the accountability? We'll get to that. I told you. Questions.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here. So look, our costs have gone up for the state exponentially in 2023. And the reason is we've got now fixed costs of.
Wait, you said 2023. I think you meant 2026.
2023, it really went up. And I'll tell you why. The federal
funding.
Yeah. Well, 2023, the federal funding started to wane. 2023, 2024. So what happened was during COVID, there was a bolus of federal dollars there for things like school psychologists, which can run about $150,000 a pop for each one. Just keep that in mind. $150K for a salary. Okay. That became that was a temporary
position.
Federal social emotional learning guidance counselors in charge of social emotional learning. We have more nurses. Okay. I don't know that I have too many qualms with that, but they wanted to put a psychologist in every freaking school. They wanted to put a social emotional learning counselor in every freaking school. Right. So they increase these bullshit positions, these administrative positions temporarily. Right. In the infinite wisdom of the Republicans inside of the General Assembly. And I railed on them, and I railed on the Republican who was the superintendent. They made these a fixed part of the budget now that taxpayers will have to spend. And it gets worse because we're going to talk about this school psychologist compact in a minute. So we have fixed costs that will only go up because of all of the administrative bloat. So when we talk about a raise of 8%, which we don't have qualms for, and a raise of 3% for all principals, we're talking about adding more fixed cost to the state budget.
Which, for those of you that don't know, the biggest part of that fixed cost is as actualizing out their retirement. And Buddy's visiting, by the way, just in case you didn't know.
That's in another line item. That's in a state employee line item.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool. I want to make sure we...
Yeah, let's look at strictly this line item. This does not include opportunity scholarships either, which can also, that comes from the general fund. So when we look at this in the fixed costs, right, they get up and up and up. And you might say, well, certainly, Republicans will come to their senses. They're not.
I think that's why they had Catherine Truitt in there. She allowed them the cover saying we were doing all this stuff for good, and it just continued. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I think she was just led them down a primrose path. But we do not need psychologists in every school. In fact, maybe one per district. I don't know. But this is complete madness and nonsense, because I'll tell you, Republicans are pushing this other bill. And let me show that to you. Wait, nope. Dang it.
We're not AI.
we're definitely not AI. I want to see if it's this one. No, damn it. Hold on.
You're just giving away the whole show.
I'm just going to, This is a bill put up by Republicans. They want to create more fixed costs for psychologists. They want out-of-state
school psychologists only. Sloan, is it school psychologists only?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
For out-of-state school psychologists. This would mean over Zoom. Now, let me ask you, why in the hell does every school, first of all, I don't want an out-of-state psychologist talking to my child alone, and I don't know who they are. I can't get a hold of it in a room on Zoom. I don't want it. Period.
I don't think, and I think the other part to look at is, do they have to be sponsored by a psychiatrist? Do we know?
No.
Do they just get free reign?
No, psychologists are completely different. No, it's
in some aspects they do in some instances, but let's keep going. What's going on here?
No, school psychologists cannot diagnose. Okay, so they make
that's the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, well, they do. Okay, I'm trained in psychology, so I'm gonna break it down for you. In a clinical setting, psychologists can test for learning disorders, etc., but they have something called a measuring instrument. All that is tests. They are the only ones who are licensed to interpolate those results, right, in a clinical setting. In a school setting, I dare say that the standards are a lot more lax, and so I don't like that. But this is the important thing. These Republicans who have done it, Aaron Paré, you're one that's on the bill. That's the one I noticed. These are Republicans who have done it, and let me put up who is in charge of it. The State Board of Education is the licensing authority of the compact. They are full of left-wing nuts. I don't mean Democrats. I mean far left nut jobs. Republicans.
How do they know what a psycho, like a psychiatrist?
It's already managed by them, so it's not creating that. But it's not put. What in the hell? They are not overseeing it correctly to begin with. They're far left nut jobs who believe and want to perpetuate the idea of 19 different genders and screwing kids' heads that way. They've advocated, I reported on it. That's the facts. So why are Republicans paying
on board?
Getting
on board with that. Yeah, I agree.
This makes me insane. So appropriates $1 million to ECU for virtual school psychology training. Now, ECU, let's go to the Wayback Machine 4 years ago when I busted them for putting money aside to create a clinic for 4-year-olds to transition 4-year-olds who thought they were gender confused. Do you think they should be training school psychologists?
No, as a matter of fact, I also remember you and I investigating a federal grant they got to literally teach teachers to
Mm.
go to rural areas and radicalize students.
Right,
I
to
think it was
teach them
$9
that they're
million.
white, right, that they're
Mhm.
white and Christian and straight, and that mommy
And
and
they're
daddy are horrible people because of that. That was
correct.
recently, that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Right, it's 23.
So ECU shouldn't be getting a grant for a damn thing until they can clean up their act. 4, gives authority to an interstate commission. Wow.
Another commission?
That's out of state. They're going to help administer the concept, and it has nothing to do with parents or Republican lawmakers. Republican lawmakers want to give your child's mental health in school all the way to the leftists or other states.
And we need another commission.
Insanity. And millions and millions and millions of dollars it commits every single school district to, because they're going to hire these people. And guess what? If you happen to be a North Carolina psychologist already here for a long time, you now have competition from out of state. We need to keep jobs in state, and don't give me the bullshit that, oh, we don't have enough. Find them, create the jobs, have all the control here. Here's a novel idea. Put more Republican control inside of the school system.
Well, and here's the funny part for me. Like, let's just say you live in a rural school district out in the middle of nowhere, and you don't really want a school psychologist. You may need them, but you don't need them full time. You might be able to share them with the county next door to you, because you don't need them full time. Right.
Or they can be off site.
Yeah.
This is not a Republican bill. And coming up on Tuesday, I'm going to excoriate every single person on this bill. I know that Erin Paré is one of them. It pisses me off.
She already knows you don't like her. She should expect it. I don't think
don't put your name on dumbass bills.
Right. And I wouldn't say that you dislike her. I think what I would say is she doesn't make good strategic decisions.
Like going after me? You're right.
I opened the door for that one.
She doesn't. That is ridiculous. And so we have this bill. We have this already. Okay. Not getting any better. And why do I harp on this? Because it's the second budget line item in the state.
I thought it was first.
No. Health and Human Services is first. Probably will be first. Education is second. And now you're going to blow it out.
Judiciary is third.
You're going to blow it out. So, okay. So now the Republican talking point. Okay. Supporting teachers, 8% raise, 48 grand starting, right? 3% employee raise and bonus. That would be principals, etc. We don't have a problem with that. If it were that, is that in concert with more fixed costs? They're just adding on and on, Margot.
Well, and I think that there's another piece of it that we would really expect, and that is some accountability. Like, where are the scores that show us that things are going up? Where are the things that show us that, the trend lines?
Discipline. That is so wonderful that you brought that up, because in 2021 or in 2020, in the waning days of, COVID and right before the election, we were sold a bag of crap, being told that social emotional learning and psychologists would exponentially increase scores. They haven't. And the graduation rate is down, and it would help discipline. It's not. People are getting their ass beaten in schools to a degree we've never seen. So if anything, it's making us worse. So they set out, right, the ROI for social emotional learning and psychologists, and we've gone backwards, and now we're hiring more.
And we also did not raise the bar on testing. We decided to lower the bar and perhaps look at a different way of scoring, which that's just the shell game.
How about this? No homework, no tests.
How about this?
Just put a few weight benches in there, just like a jail. So weight benches, a couple of reading stacks, and then call it a day.
Right. Sloan, this
Okay.
makes my eyeballs hurt.
Okay. Well, okay. So we do have law enforcement they're getting pay raises. Great. SBI, because they've got far more responsibility now. AL officers, which they regulate vape shops, so I have no problem with it. Highway patrol, that's great. Correctional officers, local law LEOs, that's great. Cops, they generally go into the business. The reason teachers do, because they have a calling. You can't stop them from doing their calling, right? I haven't seen police officers out there protesting shit. Have you?
No, Senator Lee put up, we're going to give bonuses. I just don't understand the whole reason for doing bonuses. I'll tell you why I don't like it. Okay. First of all, it taxes them a little bit differently. And secondly, if you can give them a bonus because they're a stellar employee, why can't you just give them a 1% raise, which that bonus would be the equivalent to? You know why they don't want to do it? Because it becomes permanent. And bonus is like only one. Stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like this game they play with employees that, a bonus, by the time you get a bonus, I'm sure in sales, you've been there.
Yeah, it's like 50% tax at 50%. Right.
It's kind of like when you say you're getting a $5,000 bonus, we always look at each other and say you're getting a $2,500 bonus. And by the time you get the bonus,
4,000 basically.
Right. By the time you get the bonus. But here's the other part. If you really cared about these employees and they're looking for retirement, some of them are going to hit that age. A bonus does not contribute to their overall income in a way that's substantial to hit retirement. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. They don't want those fixed costs.
Correct.
But they want the other ones.
Right.
So stop bullshitting around. Do a 10% raise, reduce the administration and your fixed costs, and call it a day. Quit with his
That's exactly how I feel about it. And I also feel like bonuses are very subjective. Sloan gets a bonus, but Margot doesn't. You will
because you're not Jewish. You'll get your bonus. I won't get mine.
But the point I'm trying to make is, is it a unilateral bonus? No.
I get it, man. I get it. But look, there's so much more. I'm going to be fair. There's so much more to be pissed off at. So let's just get to it. First of all, another bill. This came up today. Hugh Blackwell. Hey, Hugh. How's it going? Representative out of, I'm not sure. Sorry, Hugh. I forgot where you're from, but love you.
North Carolina.
From North Carolina. Proud North Carolina rep. Well, he brings this up. He's very passionate about it. Check this out. The State Board of Education. The way it works now is the state superintendent is elected, and then the board members are picked mostly by the governor. He wants to elect all school board members from congressional districts. Now, yes. I'm going to quickly breeze through it. There's good, there's bad. You will have the teachers union spending a shitload of money on every single election during every single congressional year because of that. So there's good and bad. You can get our people out, right? Because
I like appointments better. I actually like appointments better. But go ahead. Let's see it.
Because they're done by governors. And our governors have largely been Democrats.
I guess I should preface that by saying I would like to see the control of that board be halved or more with the legislature and allow them to select. I think the less power the governor has on things, the better, which I know most Democrats hate me for saying that. I don't care.
Democrats hate us because we're beautiful too. So, okay, here we're getting to it. Repeal Khan. All right, we've talked about this for a long time. Remove certificate of need for ambulatory surgical facilities. That means more competition, right? Promotes healthcare competition, reduces government control over private healthcare, and take it away because you have a lot of fire about this.
Well, look, it sounds really good, but when you read into it and the meat of it, here's where the problems lie. You still have to get permission from some state agency, usually the legislature, to put one of those con-related facilities
under the new bill.
Correct.
Okay.
And they're going to create a committee to decide about facilities and also just basic, how the con is going to be run.
You can pay somebody off, basically, or donate.
Well, think about this, though. If they create a committee, then Western North Carolina is going to want a committee to talk to their committee. Eastern North Carolina is going to want a committee to talk to their committee. It's another just middle management BS. It doesn't really
then I'm mad again. A lot of red tape. Look, business, we are pro-business here. If you want to open up a clinic for radiology because you're in a rural part of the of the state where you have to drive 100 miles. You should be able to open one, right, without paying for lobbyists or paying for people's campaign or sucking up to people.
Well, one of the things that bothers me is the con committee will decide if the new facility business, we'll call it a business, doctor, because it's a business, if they're going to be in conflict with the local rural hospital. Well, hell yeah, they are.
Okay. Wow, you just black-pilled the hell out of me because I thought that was going to be a happy.
I thought it was going to be a great bill too. I was so excited when I saw it, Sloan, and then I started reading. I'm like, wait a minute, this is just a bunch of red tape to make it look like they're doing something. And now it's Dr. So-and-so, who's friends with so-and-so in the legislature, wants a clinic down in Eastern North Carolina. He just has to take him to dinner and be good buddies. They'll get him through the committee. But if, Sandra needs an OBGYN facility here in Western North Carolina and she doesn't go down there and talk to them, likelihood not.
So the bill is, at least there's truth in advertising. It's called the con bill. Now, we forgot one thing, the social media bill. I really want to get your opinion on this. This is in the budget, So if it passes, okay, now I see lawsuits on the horizon. Y'all tell me. Prohibit social media platforms from allowing children under 14 to join. That means under 14, you cannot create a Facebook account, a TikTok account, a
Snapchat.
Yeah. Okay.
Twitch. Yeah. So that kind of bothers me. One part of this bothers me. I do like the fact that kids learn from other kids on some platforms. But what do you define as a social media platform?
YouTube. Well, it would be, let's just say for the sake of our argument, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
Roblox.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that, okay? Parents 14 to 15, you have to have parental consent to join, okay? This is going to be a pain in the ass for social media companies to set up. They've got to do age verification, right? And the North Carolina Department of Justice would enforce the law up to $50,000 per violation. What are your thoughts? There are so many in my mind.
So part of me is kind of let's do this, right? But the other part of me goes, I just watched Facebook get sued in New Mexico and basically say, we're just going to pull out of New Mexico altogether. Nobody gets Facebook. We're not going to give it to anybody. So, I mean, I have a feeling that this could backfire because if I were a social media company and somebody lied and passed the age verification and got on, and the North Carolina Justice Department got a chance to get me for $50,000, I just basically say maybe North Carolina is not for me.
You don't mess with old people's Facebook. You will lose elections if you mess with people's Facebook. Like, I very rarely use Facebook. I mean, I'll throw some things on there every now and then, but
you just have to know the audience on TikTok versus Instagram versus. I know
NC Political,
but the legislature doesn't.
Our Facebook NC Political Tea. We have some damn savages. That page is fire. I'm just talking about my personal account. I'm not really a
Facebooker.
You translate.
You'll get on the gram. You'll get on the gram.
Facebooker. Yeah, I'm not. I'm pretty much X because I don't get kicked off for cussing. You know me.
I know. And my point is that, listen, I think this is going to cause more clampdown on everybody, not just kids. Social media companies are not that savvy at being able to, and kids are smart. I'll tell you my favorite story about kids and smart. During COVID, since we talked about kids in schools and COVID, the LA school system decided they were going to go to, remote learning. So they bought a bunch of Chromebooks and they put all this cybersecurity on it so that, they could restrict how much data usage, where these kids could go. They had them all broken within a day. They jailbroke all of them. So, if you don't think a kid can get on social media, I don't care if it's Elon or Mark Zuckerberg. That's my concern. Is it's going to end up being a crackdown on all of us.
Okay. Well, so I just want to put up here the skipping back to the con laws. We've not been able. This is just in the last 10 years. Look how many times a version of the con law has been brought up. Look, there's even been partner bills in most of these years.
It's always the lawyers that don't want this.
Yeah.
Well, it's the lawyers and it's the lobbyists for the hospitals and healthcare.
Okay, so this is partial repeal is what you're talking about. So It's always been full repeal, Margot. Always been until this one comes around that
right.
does halvesies. So all this is to say, the odds of it passing appear to be slim, or I don't know. Do you think it will be
I don't know. They've gotten a lot of pressure. And I think the most interesting part for me is it's not Western North Carolina I see the pressure coming from. Not that we don't need it, but Eastern North Carolina.
Where ECU is, where they want that $1 million for.
Well, and they have more satellite coverage for hospitals.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're very sparse out there. Okay, so I'm putting one up, Farm Bill. Take it away, Farm Girl. You love this.
I love parts of it. I think it's really good that they're starting to put money back into local farmers markets. I think it's important that we really help give subsidies to farmers to
no new entitlements.
So right. No new entitlement, but the appropriation for it, I should say, not subsidy. My fault.
No. I mean, you're right.
One heavy miss to me on this bill that I thought was an easy win, because I see it up here, is they don't try and help the schools use local farms for produce, for whatever they can. I thought that was a miss that they could have really hit.
They want the USDA money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
But farmers markets are going to make it out like bandits, because they want those farmers markets all over the state and little communities.
Agriculture is, I believe, number 3 in our state, right?
Judiciary. You mean money wise, bring it in?
I'm talking about industry. Yeah. Industry.
Oh, yeah. I think it's 4, actually 3 or 4. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. If you don't share the live stream, you might be a communist. You know,
we love Jim Bob.
I tend to agree with you on this. But we get more watches now that we're being throttled. We get more on our repeat streams, and then on our other YouTube, on our I forgot where, but the clips are where it's at. All right, so now I'm gonna put 2 dumbass bills up. Go ahead.
Wait, before we finish, I just want to say that I think it's good to expand any food access which is tied to farms. And I think we could do more. I would like to see us do more. I think that we don't do enough, maybe it goes into the economic development fund, because that seems to be like a damn big fund, but we don't seem to expand that out in ways that are creative, my opinion.
Okay. Well, this, might do it. It's going to be great for farmers, I think. And that's something we're looking for. So 2 dumbass bills. Okay. This is called Defend North Carolina. And this is from Zach Hawkins, who, great guy, just wrong. It's just wrong. So this is basically a broad state response bill dealing with no ICE cooperation, tariff-related sales tax, Medicaid, federal funding loss, health research, and education funding studies. In other words, it's a bunch of bullshit in one bill. It's not going anywhere, but this gives you a window into the mind of the Democrats. Stop sheriffs and police from assisting with ICE, forbids any county to cooperate. So he wants to say from Raleigh, they can tell Craven County, they can tell Cherokee County, they can tell Rowan, you may not cooperate with ICE.
Listen, if y'all let these people win in November, we're going to get.
I'm telling you.
The one that really stands out to me and probably kept me speechless for a minute is rapists, murderers, drug dealers roam free unless feds intervene.
That is right. You cannot take them out of the interior. You cannot take them out of the interior. So, and you might say, well, Sloan, you're wrong. No, I'm not, because rapists and murderers escape their country to come into our country, and they'll be roaming free because you can't serve a warrant on them. You cannot serve them. You cannot get them out from the interior of the country, right? Until so they are running free.
I happened to watch Brad Knott today, Congressman Knott, when he was speaking or questioning the prosecuting attorney's office from Fairfax, Virginia. And if that is a glimpse into what this would do, it is downright frightening, because I've got to say, Yeah, it is frightening, the amount of criminals that are running loose in Fairfax County, that is supposed to be a safe county, that reoffend, and they use they're an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, we can't give them to ICE as the excuse.
Correct. And so that's what we're staring down the barrel of. I promise you, if the Democrats take back control of the General Assembly, I promise that is exactly what's going to happen. Now, I'm going to put a slide up. It may be the same slide. So if it is.
Maybe one you've seen before.
And it is. And it actually is indeed. So I'm going to put up another one that's a different one because they look alike. But I'll tell you, it's equally a ridiculous bill coming out of a Democrat here. Damn it. It's so bad that I have to. Okay, guys. I'm going to try like one more time, but just wash your eyes over this one again. Okay, let's see if this is it. And it might be, it might not be. There you go.
I think it is.
No, it's not. It's the one I want. So but it looks so stupid that it looks like the other bill, doesn't it?
The Leo facial covers bill. That's not what you wanted.
The LEO. That's exactly what I want. Damn it. Hold on.
You had it up. That's what it was.
I just removed it from the studio. Okay, I'm going to put it up one more time. But it's so ridiculous because what it does is it seeks to encumber police who have to cover their faces. Okay.
That's not it. You had it up a minute ago.
Damn it.
Which we've seen. That's a bill that's been going around. I think the federal government, Supreme Court.
I was so backed up. Yeah, but yeah. So in other words, when you go, regular police, you don't see them doing that. Tactical guys do it.
Well, and I did see where the Supreme Court has said no.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Democrats don't care about Thank you. Dark humor.
Is reserved for the master.
Well, I'm a dark humorist, actually.
I know that's very true. And you find humor in things that I have to really stop and go, oh my God, that's kind of funny, but mean. I'm just saying. But funny mean.
About right. Yeah. But this bill is not funny because it when you're doing tactical work and stuff like that, like SWAT team members or ICE or whatever, you don't want to have to worry about someone suing you. And by the way, you probably don't give a shit about somebody seeing your badge number when you're a SWAT team member at night, breaking someone's door down because someone's about to get murdered. It's just,
it's just radical. It's really what you're really trying to show is how radical they are and what they've got waiting in the wings.
They've got this waiting in the wings. And I definitely promise you that this is coming. If they take over, the General Assembly, we are absolutely done. So you're going to have to remember that because, we're not playing at all on that. And so we have some polling.
What are you? We're totally off. We're off the script now because I don't see the poll.
Well, we're off the script, but you know what? We're going to get on the script very soon because I'm having a technical difficulty and I'm trying to cover for it with hysterical laughter. Is it working?
No. I'm like, what is going on?
Okay, you're going to see this again. That's why I put it. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we've got some polling that came out. Harper Polling was the company that did it, but Carolina Journal was the one that released it today. You can see that on their X feed, Carolina Journal. No surprise when they're polling North Carolina voters. They are worried about inflation, the cost of living, economy and jobs is second. Social Security and Medicare, taxes and spending, healthcare. You're seeing, believe it or not, immigration is the pink one. It's kind of far down. Education after that. Crime and public safety. Dude, it is like the fourth to last. What in
crime? Wow. Do you believe that? Do you believe crime is not that big of an issue?
Hell no.
So I question this poll.
Well, but again, we don't know
I'm trying to read it. Go back. I can't read the. I was like reading the bottom of it.
We don't know what the socioeconomic standing is of the people that were polled, and are they more or less likely to vote? You know, that's just a whole thing. We also see.
Here's another poll.
Right. So, you know.
This one's not surprising to me. This one's not surprising to me.
Okay, so never heard of our Republican Senate candidate, 33.4%. Never heard of.
I'm not surprised. There's a lot of people that are not part of the Republican Party who have not followed Republican politics in the state.
And if they are, they have no idea who Michael Whatley is. If you have not been involved in Republican Party politics, you will not know who he is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. People are going to come down on me. I'm keeping it real.
Well, they also don't know what he did in the RNC because honestly, those are not things that people normally focus on unless he was on the stage with Trump once or twice and his name got put out there, which gets put out with everybody else's name. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Harry. Thanks, Michael.
Well, if you're not a Politico, and we are, we have to, I mean, we know him, so it's very different, but
that doesn't surprise me at all.
It's going to matter. And I'm telling you, Michael Whatley, you need to stop talking about Trump. He's not on the ballot. He's not going to be on the ballot. When you look at that poll, national politics are like, those issues are down, very low. And quite frankly, with $4.50 gas, do you really want to be bringing up Trump right now?
Well, and the other part for me is like, you've got a perfect opportunity to talk about all the things Cooper did in this state, and you never take it.
So Whatley, let's be real. You know you got somebody watching the show. You understand what's going on. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, right?
He's just not a very vivacious candidate. He doesn't have a lot of charisma.
Look, I've done this story in Substack. Again, if you're not following our Substack, you have to ask yourself a question. What is wrong?
Why?
Right? I did a 2-part series, The Human Cost of His Criminal Compassion. You've got to follow our Substack. You've got to read this. But look, the amount of people that have died on his watch, we've chronicled it. Mainstream media has started to chronicle it big time. The amount of people that he's let out is just insane. But it's not just from crime. He is dumb. What he did during the pandemic I'm going to stay on crime for 1 second.
Okay, because I hate him.
I know. Listen, you're loaded for bear, and that's what we need. He put together basically a crime board that included the most radical actors. I just showed it on the last video. The most radical actors right here. You've got 2-3 failing sheriffs, including Clarence Burkhead. You've got Anita Earls, who is probably the most radical Supreme Court justice here. And you've got no money bail. You've got treating murderers like they're, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest patients or girl interrupted patients, at a mental institute. It's pathetic. It's sad. What I did like is that Mark Harris, who is a congressman I love, he's out of Cabarrus, and I think he's part of Union, but he's most definitely part of Mecklenburg County. Had an interview and talked about his absolutely horrible record.
Former Democratic Governor Roy Cooper runs for a Senate seat. So state Republicans there are now questioning whether accused killer DeCarlos Brown Jr., you see in that video in that red sweatshirt, was released under a COVID-era prison deal approved during Cooper's administration that authorized the early release of some 3,500 inmates. How did that happen? A repeat offender with a long rap sheet, Brown was under state supervision at the time of the stabbing. So let's bring in now North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris. Congressman, great to have you on the program. I know the story, this crime is very personal and close to your heart. Explain this to our viewers. Why was he released during the COVID era?
Well, Aisha, it's great to be with you. Thank you for having me. And yes, this is a story that has continued to develop and brought to my attention that when Roy Cooper was governor, that this was part of the policy that was put in place during COVID that once again, as oftentimes demonstrates itself through Roy Cooper and some of the liberal Democrat policies, it seems to prioritize the criminal over the victim. And there was a release, a number of people that were in prison during that particular era that were released because of COVID and things that were going on there. And listen, it didn't matter what they had done. There were a number of people on that list that were released that had felonies, numerous felonies, including sexual assault, all kinds of.
So let them all out. And the same thing that we talked about when he gave clemency, let literal murderers out. Not one, not two, but 16 rapists, murderers, just out of jail. So.
Well, Amy Gailey was on a podcast yesterday, I think, and she said that they had run this. Cooper had used his commissioner for prisons and detentions, Ishii was his name, from Ohio, to guarantee that they would just not pick, outright horrible past performing criminals that did things like rape and murder, which was a lie. Because, but listen, of the murderers that were let out, just slightly less than half have reoffended. Of the rapists that have been let out, half have reoffended. So he picked people that are chronic habitual criminals, and they're hardened criminals. One of them had been in jail for murder, had been sentenced to prison.
But that's a pattern, because we saw him do it in clemency. We saw him do it in COVID. We saw the policies that he encoded in the criminal justice system in 2020 with Josh Stein. That's a pattern. So it's not.
But you know what the part of the pattern is we're not talking about? The accountability part from the General Assembly. They admitted they had no accountability for what these people did. They didn't ask any questions. It's the same thing they did with Hurricane Helene and every other disaster. They will give money, they will give permission, but they don't add any hooks in it for accountability. None. I'm pissed.
When the governor appoints people to sit on boards, etc., be it election or education or whatever, it requires the permission of the General Assembly. And I have not heard a damn thing from Phil Berger or Tim Moore when he was over there objecting to any of these radical appointees that Roy Cooper put on these boards. I'm telling you, Republicans are going to have to do a much better job, because this party is getting more radical and more radical. The Democrats are, and we're going to need them to stand in the gap and stop it.
It should have been a list in front of a group of congressional of legislators that said, no, we're not letting this guy out. He's been in jail for murder, got out and came back. But there wasn't, and there was no teeth in that. If they let them out, I don't care if he jaywalked back in.
This really pisses me off, because it's something that the Republicans can at least use their bully pulpit for, at minimum. The time to use a bully pulpit is not before the elections when you're making a political issue about it. These are lies here.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So go on. What did he do to the election board?
Well, Roy Cooper had Karen Benson Brett Bell, she was his little lackey, on the election board. And listen, during 2020, we know what happened. They got a consent decree by Mark Elias, just like Georgia did. The difference is we said, hold our beer, Georgia. We're going to go to court. And we won. The reason that we won is because we had good laws in place, which Georgia didn't. But we were also told you have to strengthen your laws when it comes to signature verification and no witness ballots, because we had witnesses on our ballots, and mail-in ballots. So, I mean, Roy Cooper made a mockery of elections, and he wielded the sword to win. He won because he did it. He elongated election day, 15 days. Who the hell does that? All the different things they did. And I have to give Michael Whatley credit. He was aggressively following the trends as they occurred. They changed the election date. He went to court. They got that consent decree. He went to court, and Tim Moore for that matter. But it didn't stop what happened. And what it did do.
Tim Moore's lawyers and Harper V are my lawyers, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They went to Supreme Court. Mm-hmm.
Well, the other part that I thought was interesting is that the residual effects of what happened during that 2020 election had created the backbone that we did see the General Assembly use to move the power from the governor for the election boards
to
the auditor.
Executive power
but they made a lot of regulational change. They literally signed a consent decree saying we'll get rid of the 46,000 dead people on the roll. So, I mean, they're undoing years of what Roy Cooper did and other Democrat governors did. But Roy Cooper's just a
that's right.
clown.
We have new House leadership, so that's good. Now we want to finish up with this because a lot of people are pissed off about it, and I'm pissed off too. Because look, we see only a small percentage, but radical NCAE teacher protesters up there raising hell, saying 8% raise isn't good enough, 25% are bust. They're really radical. They took the day off. They threw everyone out of kilter on May 1st.
No, they didn't. They went job abandonment. That was job abandonment. It was a day off.
Yeah. But I hear them raising hell about pay. I've never once heard them as a body never speak out about the thousands of children who are abused, I would say, every couple of years by teachers. Here's just from the last 2 weeks. I'm going to show you. It's more teachers who are arrested for heinous sex crimes. And I'm telling you, I don't hear anyone speaking out about this problem. They're too busy bitching about pay, right? Only a small percentage of them, right? About pay and standards and this and that. I mean, in a militant way. They don't care about the victims, it seems. This is 39-year-old Amber Walker, formerly a counselor of Asheboro High School. She'd been there since 2018. Mom of a 2-year-old who allegedly had sex with a 15-year-old on the athletic field of the school. A school counselor, we've talked about this, has extra time with students, extra alone time, right? Unbelievable. Where is
jaw-dropping?
Yeah. 2-year-old mother. Or mother of a 2-year-old. What in the hell? Okay. Here is another one. This is just from the last 8 days, I believe, 8 or 9 days. Greensboro teacher who had accused of using AI, putting AI, okay, on they found it on a school iPad, AI pictures of students on other bodies and sexualizing them. Something that is just so
disgusting,
absolutely horrific. Okay. Okay. This is the Raleigh teacher. I apologize. This is a Raleigh teacher that you're looking at in that one. His name's Stephen Coles. But check this out. This is allegedly abuses that took place since 2005 in Wake County.
At a magnet school.
8 counts
teacher
of
at a magnet school
with a child. Yes, the allegations: 3 counts of child sex offense, 2 of statutory rape. This allegedly went on since 2005. Correction: this is a Wake County teacher. This just came out. This is the Greensboro teacher. Greensboro teacher allegedly used AI to manipulate pictures. I don't fully understand it. And then this guy. This is
Is that the Union County teacher?
Union County, Parkland High School, Union County chemistry teacher, Gerald Morton, caught with a loaded firearm. He stunk of weed. I don't know. Was he smoking a blunt on campus or something? And they found him. I don't know. But get this. He was arrested again after the arrest because deputies say that he made a threatening phone call to the principal, Tracy Strickland, after the arrest. So it wasn't enough to be arrested, allegedly.
Also, I mean, I've just got to say, I think it should be mandatory drug testing for all teachers. It just should be.
Yeah, random drug testing. I think that and random background checks. I don't know that it will pick things up, but we talk about that a lot. Wasn't found in the budget, by the way.
I know, that's why I brought it up. Because why don't we have routine background checks and mandatory drug testing? You know why? Because half the teachers will quit.
Well, I hope that's not true, but look, I have no problem. We have no problem with pay raises for good teachers. I have a huge problem when I don't hear the NCAE, which claims to represent teachers, speaking out against their own teachers. 2 weeks ago, Margot, we talked about 4 more teachers. So we're talking every 2 weeks, we're talking about 4 who typically leave a string of several victims, right?
Yeah.
But I hear nothing about.
You don't hear the DPI talking about it either.
I do not. And I did not hear the DPI talking about it when Catherine Truitt, who was a Republican, and I got on her ass because she would leave these alleged abusers with a license in good standing. That was inappropriate also.
I agree. Well, we're down to the final minute.
We're down to the final minute. We have a show on Tuesday. We're traveling next week, but you will get a show on Tuesday.
Tuesday, you will show.
Thank you, guys. We have like so many supporters. We love you guys. This is why we do it, because who's talking about this? Who's putting it all together? Nobody.
No, and there's more. There's a lot more. As the budget unfolds, or as the laws unfold in the legislature, we'll bring you more. We're all waiting for that constitutional carry, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Waiting for the foreign doctors bill to be
absolutely
extended, because we need minimal. Can you just pass a U.S. test if you're a foreign doctor? Can we just get that? It's ridiculous.
I agree. But I'll see you on Tuesday.
See you on Tuesday, guys. Have a very good evening.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.